What's going on, kiddies? Welcome to another episode of Emmanuel Mteto. I'm your host, Eggs and Beans. What's going on? Oh man, this has definitely been a difficult week. But we must persevere. Today's meal is brought to you by Bento. Today we're having a cheese and bacon burger along with some thick cut fries. We're also having a Belgian chocolate shake. I'm gonna shoot for under 40 minutes. Okay? Let's run through the news. It is with great sadness that I have to say, this week we lost Chadwick Boseman. Hold up. I was supposed to mention her birthday first, alright? This week, it was Mary Mwamba's birthday. Alright. I hope you... Yeah, Mary, I hope you're able to... I wish you many more birthdays, because, times like these are very tough, we're losing a lot of people. We've got a pandemic going on, and there's a lot of violence out there. So just, I pray that, you live a long and fruitful life, And, sorry to just... I know that was a bit of a whiplash, going from talking about the passing of someone to the life of someone. But I feel like we should bear in mind where we're going. Like, life is a journey. It's not a circle. It's a line. So yeah, happy birthday, Mary. And unfortunately, sorry that I had to say that with all that other stuff. But yes, this week we lost Chad, man. I wanna pull up some. I wanna just talk about some of the things he's been in. You know what I'm saying? I love these chips, dude. Fast food from restaurants that are like not trendy, like not popular, like it's just better. These chips taste better than any McDonald's chips I've had in my life, any KFC, any Steers chips I've had in my life. These are just better. The crunch is different. The spices it's also about the spices that they put on the chips, dog. They're just superior. Chadwick Boseman passed away at the age of 43. We can talk about a bit of his life. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He was born and raised in Anderson, South Carolina. His mother was a nurse and his father worked in a textile factory. DNA testing places his ancestors in Sierra Leone and Nigeria. So that's really interesting. I understand that he did research. He did look at some accents for his role as Black Panther, because in Black Panther, like, everyone sounds like they come from a certain place in Africa. Like in his role as T'Challa, like, he sounded a bit French. slightly French, slightly, so I'm guessing he looked at his and he factored in his ancestry in that role. Let me just go straight to his roles. In 2003, he was in All My Children. Bruh, that's crazy. I may have seen him there. I may have been watching, just channel flicking, because I never watched All My Children. That wasn't for me. I watched Days of Our Lives. I was hooked on Days of Our Lives because Days of Our Lives is honestly the craziest show in history, bro. Anyways, 2004, 2005 was on Law and Order and CSI. That's interesting. He wasn't Lied to Me. I loved that show, bro. That was a show that I'm not even going to describe it. You have to Google it. But it was starring Tim Roth, and that show actually made me a fan of Tim Roth as an actor. He was in Persons Unknown. I want to get into that. I'm just gonna bite into this bacon burger first. Oh man. That's beautiful. Persons Unknown is a show that was on Mnet Action, channel 106 on DSTV. Like, this was around the time, because like growing up, my household never had DSTV. We had the free channels, I think we had a decoder, a Vivid decoder. We just had the free public channels, SABC 1, 2, and 3. Everyone that I went to school with, they all had DSTV. They grew up with watching Cartoon Network and all these other fancy channels and Mnet, So when I was in high school, we got DSTV. We got DSTV Compact. So we had access to now like 50 channels. If I had to hazard a guess, about 50 channels, and one of them was Mnet Action. And Mnet Action, no, at the time it was still called Action X. I think it was called Action X by that time. It just had so many TV series. Like that's really what got me into TV series. That's where I started where I learned the concept of seasons and episodes. And anyways, one of the shows that was playing was called Persons Unknown, and Chadwick Boseman was in the show. I didn't know it at the time. I only found out as I was googling him around the time Black Panther was coming up as a pop culture character in film. So Persons Unknown is about, let me just read it. It's about a group of strangers who wake up imprisoned inside a small ghost town with no memory of how they wound up there. It was a mystery show, and it had some action and some suspense, So he was one of the strangers. I wonder how many. Anyways, this show got cancelled after one season. But who was here? Who else was in the show? Okay, no one that you guys will know by name, or that I know by name. But yeah, man, Chadwick Boseman, I knew him from before. Well, no, I didn't know him from before. I saw him before. He's been doing this thing for a while, since 2003, and people only are seeing him from the first time a couple of years ago, 2016, with Black Panther's first appearance in Captain America: Civil War. And that just speaks to how difficult acting is. Because if you say it means he's been doing his thing for 13 years. He's been acting for 13 years. And a lot of people were only first introduced to him as Black Panther. So acting, honestly, a lot of people go to LA, they move to the States, they move to New York trying to get into acting, but it takes time. For some people, it takes time, so. Anyway. No, he really he was really a strong guy, a strong person, for battling that behind the scenes and not sharing it with anyone. It's kind of like Freddie Mercury, he was battling with AIDS and he only spoke about it in his last few weeks of being alive. A lot of you never know what artists are going through. You never know what artists are going through. Artists are people too. Artists are people too. We look at artists on Instagram, we look at celebrities and we think, wow, I want that life. You can have those millions, but you can still get cancer. You can sell your soul to be in front of on all these movie screens and whatever, or you can work your way, you can work hard, do it the right way. There's no wrong or right way. You can put decades of your life into this thing, and you can drive all these cars, you can wear all these clothes, you can have all these followers, but you're still a human being. People don't think celebrities are people. People also don't think criminals are people, but we'll get into that a bit later. But anyways, I respect Chadwick Boseman. I respect him. He didn't make excuses. He didn't. Obviously it's toxic. It's toxic to say if that person was dealing with this and he was able to do that, what's stopping me? No, that's actually a toxic thing to say. But I don't even think I should try and come up with a moral of the story. There's no moral. Chadwick was just a human being. We're all human beings at the end of the day. Yeah, I guess my moral can be we shouldn't put people on pedestals. We shouldn't think that they're gods. No, they're just people. They deserve privacy. They deserve to have their private lives kept secret, Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. There was a time I thought I was done with the story. There was a time, I think it was 2017, Chadwick Boseman won an award. I want to bring up the story. Chadwick Boseman China Award. He won an award for most popular US actor in 2017, I believe. No. No. He was not. He was not the most. Let me just say it now. He was not. Okay. But this must have just been so random. Like, just waking up and your agent calls you and they're like, yo, Chad, you got this award, man, for most popular US actor. I'm sure. Like, he was even interviewed on Jimmy Kimmel, and Jimmy Kimmel was like, dude, why did this happen? Why did this happen? You should watch that. You should find that interview online. Google Chadwick Boseman Jimmy Kimmel Award. Maybe you'll find that video. But it was just hilarious. Like, he he knew that he would, like, but he still took that. He still went up on that stage, and he was very gracious about that. So that was just very random. Like, why China? China is just. I speak about China too much on this show. I don't think there'll be a week where I don't speak about China on Eggs and Beans. Let's have another bite and move on to the next news topic. Listen, guys. I will say this again. If you need to buy a burger, don't go to Popeyes, don't go to McDonald's. Find a place with a random name. The burgers might be more expensive. They actually will be more expensive, but you will taste that difference in quality. If you just have Big Macs all the time, you won't know what's out there in the world. In fact, if you can ask your guardian or someone, or if you can make your own burger, it'll taste better than those standard Big Macs or whatever. Because these burgers have not, and the burgers that you make yourself have not been ruined by iteration, by just needing to conform. I feel like at another branch of this shop, this burger would taste completely different. Like, when you cook something and you follow a recipe, to a certain extent, you kind of have to stray from the recipe. Or you have to adjust it to your own. Basically, when you put your heart into something, when your meal is made with heart, that changes. It changes how, like, it makes it taste like this burger tastes like someone made it for me. It doesn't taste like a machine made it for me. That's what I'm trying to say. So go out of your comfort zones. This week there was rioting in the streets. There was protests in Cape Town. Did this happen in Cape Town? Oh my God. Listen, man, it's just a very sad state of affairs in this country. Where does this happen? Did this happen? It happened in El Dorado Park. Where is it? Isn't that in Gauteng? Where is Ellie's? Isn't that what they call it? Ellie's? It's in Soweto. I'm sure I can take like 2 taxis and I'm there. They were in El Dorado Park this week. People were protesting the dilapidation and the lack of service delivery. They were protesting how they don't have housing. They're protesting a lot of things. They're also protesting the amount of police inaction over like crime and drugs and everything. You know what I'm saying? And then the police decided to gun down a young man with Down syndrome who goes by the name of Nathaniel Julius. Nathaniel Julius. Rest in peace to that young man. In Eggs and Beans episode 2, I stated the people in the developed countries who are dying of police brutality, I said to them they should just come here, because The cost of dying is cheaper. If you're a black person, you're still gonna die. Your leader is black. Your entire government is black. But you're still gonna die. It's just that everything will be cheaper. Burgers will be cheaper. Smoothies will be cheaper. Data will be cheaper. Apparel will be cheaper. Skincare will be cheaper. You're still gonna die. There is still police brutality over here. And a lot of woke Americans be like, I'm moving back to Africa, man. No, woke black Americans don't sound like that. They sound like, I'm moving back to America because, I want to be closer to my people. And, no, don't look. The only advantage, in episode X and Beats episode 2, the cost of dying, I said, I encourage people to come because it's more affordable to die here. Right? But now I'm also saying to those woke people who think that things are different here, the things are not different. It's the same. It's all the same. Alright? Like, look, man. The problem, back when people were protesting about police, and I never really understood it. I always just thought, you know what? Why was this person doing the crime? Why were they not just simply laying down on the street and just doing exactly what the police told them? That was my thinking. Like at the start of this year, during the George Floyd protest, like I was like, and before that, every single video of police brutality, I always just thought, why weren't these guys just cooperating? Like, if a policeman is aiming a gun at you, why don't you just cooperate? Maybe this wouldn't have happened. But now I see. I was thinking like someone from the safe world. And right now you're thinking to yourselves, what is Emmanuel talking about? What does he mean, the safe world? Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I do ever so often on Eggs and Beans, I'd like to put forward a theory. Maybe this is not a theory. This is more like a framework, like a structure, like an illustration, a diagram, to help you understand something better. Because this is how I understand it. This is how I have come to understand how life works. In life, people think that there are normal people and then there are social outcasts, there are criminals, there are prostitutes, there are drug dealers, and that these people are just rogue elements that only constitute a small part of society, and those people are they just have bad circumstances, but they can still be redeemed if they just go to jail and spend some time there and think about what they were doing, and maybe by the time they come out, they can now join us in being functional members of society. That is how I was raised to think. Because of where I came from, because of where I was born, because of my upbringing, because of my circumstances. That is the framework that I used to understand the world. That is the looking glass that I viewed my environment through. And that all I needed to do was behave, was just fall in line, go to school, not do drugs, not do crime, and I will just continue to live my life like that. And that those people have a choice in the matter, and that they're just disobeying. They're just not following our rules. And all that they need to do is just follow our rules. Well, through weeks of watching Chirac gang videos, honestly, the last few weeks, there's a YouTube channel hosted by DJ Academics. It's called The War in Chirac. And there's a subreddit called Cali Banging. Cali Banging, which shows gangs in LA, like Crips versus the Bloods versus Mexican gangs like the Florencia 13. Like, I've just been immersing myself in gang culture. It's probably why I'm wearing this oversized flannel. But anyways, what I've come to realize is that my framework was completely wrong. There isn't society and just a handful of outcasts and people who just refuse to conform. No. There are two separate domains. There is the safe world, and there is the unsafe world. Now, for the sake of simplicity, I will be referring to the scope of like countries with like infrastructure. I'm not talking about people in the wild, like hunters, people who kill animals with bows and arrows and live in huts. Those people are outside the scope of this discussion. Those people have been living in the unsafe. That is definitely an unsafe world. I'm just talking about city life, country, like proper like developing and developed countries. I'm not talking about people who live in igloos in the Antarctica, okay? Now, in the safe world, you have people like us, people who go to school, who are born, go to school, study at school, graduate, get a job, retire. People who follow that conventional life path. People in the unsafe world are people who are born, definitely go to school, but drop out either because they have to take care of their families, and because of dropped out of school, their job prospects aren't really too hot. So they have to resort to illicit ways of earning, not just earning money, illicit ways of surviving. Right? Now, we think of these people are presented to us in shows like Law and Order. They're presented to, and legal dramas, they're presented to us like criminals. And we think they're just people who started off like us and they just lost their way. No! They were never it was never possible for them to live life like us. In places like downtown Chicago, you don't have the option of just going to school, just having a normal day, on a normal Saturday, where you just chill outside, you go to your friend's house, play video games, you come home, then on Monday, you make time on the weekend to do your homework, then on Monday you go back to school. No, man. Like, in those places, you're kind of forced to join a gang. Because kids rarely stay in school long enough, to, like, they don't drop out of school. A lot of times they don't drop out of school because school is boring, because their grades suck. They drop out of school because they have to take care of their families, because they have tons of siblings, and they have to take care of their siblings. They have to put food on the table because their fathers have either abandoned them or their fathers are in jail. Now, if your dad is in jail and your mom probably has a drug habit, and you've got 5 or 6 younger brothers and sisters, how are those kids gonna eat? If your mother isn't working, how are your brothers and sisters gonna eat? You can go to school, but they're just gonna be sitting at home all day with nothing to do, and they can't go to school. I don't know. It's it's just not an option. I can't give you the very specifics of people from the unsafe world because I come from the safe world. I don't know how things work there. But it's not just a matter of stay in school, don't do drugs. No. Those kids are kind of forced to join gangs. I guess a lot of it also has to do with conformity. Like, if you don't join a gang, like all the music that's playing around you is by gangsters. All the people that you see in the street, they're wearing like the latest Jordans, driving the nice cars. They've got all the girls, and you're just busy going to school, wearing your cheap, fake Jordans, fake Yeezys. You've got no girls. There's also a lot of social pressure to also want to live the lifestyle that the top dogs are living. There's also that. That's how a lot of young people from the safe world in those places enter the unsafe world. But really, it just boils down to not being able to get jobs. People in the unsafe world, they can't get jobs. They won't be hired, and probably because they've already got a criminal record, they can't get jobs. They can't work. So what are they gonna do? They're forced to do the only thing they can do. That is drug trafficking, weapon trafficking, extortion, prostitution, robbery, and murder. That's about it. That's about it. Just to summarize it, that's about it. All those crimes. That's literally all you can do. If you're a young lady and you can't get a job, you sell your body. You know, I mean, what else are you gonna do? I mean, okay, there are a lot of girls who also join gangs and end up as like shooters for gangs. But really, in those parts of the world, it's not uncommon. Like here, it's uncommon. Like because we live in the suburbs or wherever we live, it's common for us. It's uncommon for us to see people just carrying guns around. But in downtown Chicago, like literally, guns are just everywhere. Like they'll put a gun in your hand when you're like 7, 8 years old. It's just normal life. Like I when I first started watching these Chicago gang videos, I couldn't process why, because if there's in modern civilization, in the safe world, in conventional life, anything where 5 people die, like I feel like 5 people is like the threshold. Anything that involves the death of up to 5 people, like it immediately gets shut down. Like you'll have like law enforcement coming in to just put a stop to that thing, whatever it is, be it some kind of extreme sport, be it a Concorde, like be it like a type of plane, a type of transport. If 5 people die, it's a wrap, it's done. So coming from a world where things work like that, I couldn't wrap my head around how people could go on living the gang life where people are dying every other day. In Chicago, in like during weekends of like special days like 4th of July weekend, you'll find like 40 people will die. 40 people will be gunned down through gang warfare. And you think to yourself, but how? Every other week, someone is dying. I couldn't live like that, but that's normal. You have to understand that, and I'm explaining this very badly, of course, but it's not that life is cheaper in those areas, but it's that people have different stakes. People have different priorities. Like when someone who leaves their house to go out and rob someone, they're not doing it like a lot of people are doing it for fun, but it's just within their, it's just something they're able to do. It's like when you see people in a gang shootout, they know that they can die. It's like you accept it. It's like once you're a soldier in the army, right? You accept the fact that the moment you step on that transport to go to the war zone, you know that you can die at any time. Like, people have made peace with death. Like, people, like, their stakes are different. Like, for us in the safe world, we feel like, okay, I'm gonna put $100 in my pocket, and I'm gonna put my phone in my other pocket, and when I go out, the most that I can lose is my phone. The most money that I can lose is my phone and this $100, but I will still walk away with my life. And I'm going out tonight to have a good time, to party, to chill. Oh no. Yeah, let's say I've got a couple $100 in my pocket and I've got my phone and I'm going out. The most I can lose is my money and my phone, but my life will still be intact. And with this money, that's all I'm putting on the line. And what I'm hoping to get in return for risking this money and this phone, what I'm hoping to get in return is a good time. Is maybe some numbers of girls. Is maybe some fun with my friends. But those are the stakes. The stakes, what I'm putting at risk is a couple $1,000 in total in value, but not my life. And what I'm hoping to gain is just a good time, is just some fun time, is just, Now, in the unsafe world, in LA, downtown Chicago, what those people are gambling isn't just those worldly possessions of theirs. They're gambling their lives. They're willing to put their lives on the line. And what they're willing to gain, what they want in exchange for the risk of putting their lives in danger, what they want is other people's lives. The highest isn't just the shoes on your feet or the money in your pocket or your phone. The most that they want is your life, is the lives of their enemies, of opposing gangs. They're willing to walk out of the door knowing that, a bullet could take my life. But that's fine, because I've still represented my gang. I've still represented my hood, my street. That's fine. That's how they think. Now, the police. Let's talk about the police for a second. Based on all of this, the safe world and the unsafe world concepts that I'm putting forward to you. Now I have a better understanding of what the police are supposed to do. The police are not supposed to. The job of the police is not to stop crime. The job of the police is not to stop crime, because if the police completely eradicate crime, people in the unsafe world are not going to be able to survive. They're all literally just going to die. If the police could just snap their fingers and all the guns and everyone in the unsafe world just stopped doing their crimes by magic, by mind control, they would all just die. They would all just cease to exist. They would all just starve to death, because they don't have access to the things we in the safe world have access to, which is education, which is better a family support system that can help you out when you're in need. Not everyone has access to that, But we still have access to more things in the safe world. Just having an education just changes things. That just changes things. But these people need to survive. So the job of the police is not to completely eradicate crime. It is to keep crime under control and to keep the two worlds separate. That is the job of the police. Have you ever watched an episode of Law and Order where the detectives will walk into a store and they'll see the clerk and they'll be like, "Look, man, I know that you've got this illegal..." Whoa, is my phone still recording? It is. Yo, I got a notification that covered the timer. "Look, clerk guy, I know that you're selling illegal alcohol here, but we need information on this guy who's prostituting young minors. If you don't help us out, we will stop you from selling from your illegal side business." This happens in Law and Order. And this is whenever I saw those scenes, I was like, wow, those detectives are being really cheesy, man. I wonder why they don't just... They're just being... It didn't connect with me that they know that this man has to feed his kids. And they're letting him get away with a petty crime just so that they use him to help them solve more serious crimes. That only now, after watching all these gang videos and looking at how long it takes for police to respond to killings in neighborhoods, did I understand that, okay, the police treat people in the unsafe world differently. They know that killings are happening all the time. It's not in their best interest to stop all of the killings, because those police officers also need drugs for themselves. They also need to use prostitutes once in a while, but they just keep it from getting out of hand, and they keep it from spilling into the safe world. Once a person from the unsafe world shows his black ass in a suburb, that man is now undesirable, number one. That man's life has now been forfeit. That is why you will find police using excessive force in the suburbs. Because what are you doing here? You don't belong here. You're supposed to be in the hood. If you were just walking in the hood, we would have left you alone. But now you're around all these white families, all these white kids, all these kids who have bright futures. What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. That's it. That's it. It's not a question of excessive force. It's a question of maintaining order, maintaining a balance between people in the safe world and people in the unsafe world. Once a cop finds once you're in the unsafe world, it is up to you how well you conceal your activities. Whether it be your extortion, whether it be your prostitution, it is up to you how well you do those things. And honestly, the cops, most of the time, if you just buy them lunch, and this is just in South Africa as well, in Africa as well, if you just buy them lunch, if you just beg them nicely that you won't do it again, they'll let you go. Because what's happening here does not bother anyone in the unsafe world. That is why there was a time when I was going on a date with a girl, and we were supposed to meet at a mall. So I was trying to. I didn't want to walk around the block. I wanted to walk through a park so I could just save time. Just wanted to walk through a park, and this park had some undesirables. As I was walking through this park, I noticed a statue, and I decided to just look at the statue because it looked very interesting. Because I like looking at things. I like art. And a guy said, "Hey, buddy, come here, buddy." Just a guy with a group of people doing God knows what. He said, buddy, come, just come. So I went over to this guy, and obviously some of you are gonna be like, why did you do that? Why didn't you just walk away? Well, it was broad daylight, right? There was nothing you could do to me. But very quickly, I found myself in the midst of a drug deal, and I was in about 15 minutes, I was supposed to meet this girl in front of a mall, and here I was standing in front of this guy who was busy showing me various strains of marijuana and asking me which one I wanted to buy the most. And I obviously couldn't take any. I just took his number. I had to placate him. I had to tell him that, no, I'll be back next week. Let me just get your number. When I come back, I know where to go to. Let me get your number. I had to placate him quickly, because the more time I spent there, the more I ran the risk of a police officer walking up and arresting us. That's what I thought, right? That's what I thought. And lo and behold, not 20 seconds after this man whipped out his 6 strains of marijuana, did a gentleman in a uniform start walking towards us. And I said, ah! And I said in my heart of hearts, ah! You know? He started walking towards us. But then he too saw the statue, and he just stood there and he gazed at it. And then I gave the person, the drug dealer, this look of, how is this happening? How are we not in jail? How are we not being arrested? And he was like, no, we pay him. Every week we just pay him. We just forward him some money just so he can let us operate in peace. And at the time, I just thought, man, the police in this country are so corrupt. But no, that's not it. That's simply not it. The police are just, they're just they're not there to be, their job is not to eradicate crime. Their job is to just maintain order and stability. You see what I'm saying? So that's why they allow dealers to deal in peace. That's why, you know what I'm saying? There was also a time when I was walking home. In Globosrand, we had just come from a gated community next door that is definitely full of drugs. We just went to buy some bread. As we were coming back, a cop car, it was me and my cousin Wagwan. You guys in my family know Wagwan. He's my cousin. They stopped us and they got out and they said, boys, let's empty your pockets. Let's see what you've got inside them. We were now in a neighborhood which was kind of a semi-suburb, but its jurisdiction is in the safe world, and we had just come from the unsafe world. And this police officer was making sure that we didn't bring something from that unsafe zone into a safe zone, because this would then pollute this zone. This is something that's not allowed to happen. These people from the two zones are not allowed to do that. See, and it didn't make sense to me. Like, dude, I thought in my head, like, why come after us? There's tons of drug dealers in there. And you'll see the cop car going up and down at night. And it's just to make sure that, because once there's a drug, once there's some weed in the safe zone, there's gonna eventually be guns in the safe zone. And then you're gonna have some white mother in a police station saying, where were you? How did this happen? How was that drugs? You're not doing your job. And now that guy, now there's disorder, there's, dissonance. There's supposed to be a separation and a limiting and a minimizing of overlap. So now I have a better understanding of the police's job. It's not to stop crime, guys. It's not to stop crime. It's to preserve order. So yeah, guys, I think I'll leave it there for that topic. Let me just finish this burger. It's real good. You can fast forward. Fast forward until I give a thumbs up. Yeah. Yeah, life. Look, I've been having a decent week. Like I said, that scene in Avengers Endgame where T'Challa's like, come now. This is no place to die. And then he vanishes into dust. That scene is gonna make people cry. For real, for real. Did I say Avengers Endgame? That happened in Avengers Infinity War. Whatever. I honestly hate paper straws. Man, that burger was so great. But yeah, man. Just to leave you with one more thing. One of the videos, I forgot the dude's name. Oh, his name is Lowski Being Real. Search for Lowski, Loski Being Real on YouTube. He's someone from a gang. In one of his videos, he was like, honestly, when we rob you, we only rob you because we want what you have. Because we don't have what you have. Whether you've got expensive shoes on, whether you've got a shirt on your back, we want that thing because you have it and we don't. And then he was like, some people make the example like, what if you're not wearing anything expensive? What if you don't even have a phone? What if you don't have any money? We'll take your life because we want what you have. Honestly, because anytime I would be walking out at night, or I need to go out late, like I leave work late and I need to go home because I walk home because it's so close. I would tell myself, no, I left my expensive phone at home. No one can touch me. But after he said, we're willing to take your life just because we want what you have, that really changed my mind. Like now there's just no point in risking anything. I should just take an Uber home. Like, yo, that's scary. If that's how people around this town think. Sorry. Wow. Tastes like ice cream. I don't know why they even call it Belgian chocolate. Like, it doesn't matter if the chocolate comes from Belgium. I'll take any chocolate. Let's call it a chocolate milkshake. Don't have to call it a Belgian chocolate milkshake. Let's call it a chocolate milkshake. What's left? Guys, I don't want to talk about any of this other stuff. It's too heavy. Prince Andrew from Buckingham Palace was implicated in a prostitution ring, and a lot of the girls were minors. So people are protesting outside Buckingham Palace, calling and screaming the word pedophile, pedophile, pedophile. I don't even know what to say. And apparently the Queen she's chosen to take a stance of ignoring the crowd instead of addressing them. I mean, how can you cancel royalty? You can't cancel royalty. Who do you think you are? So that's happening. There's also a hurricane. Hurricane Laura. Remember last week's episode? Laura. Hurricane Laura is ravaging where? America, right? Which part of America? Hurricane Laura. This straw is not effective enough. Like, ice cream is getting trapped in this. It's in Louisiana. Almost everyone got evacuated from the path of this hurricane, but there was about a handful of people, about 100 and something people, who chose to stay and take their chances. So authorities told these people to write their names. To write what? To write their names and numbers, I guess, and their identity and their ID numbers on pieces of paper, wrap them in plastic bags, and put them in their pockets so their bodies can be identified. How do you say that? Wait, because this hurricane was rated unsurvivable by meteorologists. How do you say? Firstly, how do you say that to someone? Secondly, how do you hear that and not immediately leave? That's insane, bro. That's crazy, bro. Like, if someone just hearing about that's happening. It's crazy, bro. Honestly, yeah, name, social security number, and date of birth on a piece of paper and put it in a Ziploc bag. Hey, yo, we be thinking, I want to go to America. I want to go to Hollywood. America has to deal with hurricanes. Us in Africa, has there been? We've had cyclones. We've had cyclones and typhoons. Have we had a typhoon? I don't know. And we've had some tornadoes, but we've never had a hurricane. We don't know what that's like. American houses are made of wood. Our houses are made of brick. I'm not saying it's better to be stuck in a hurricane with wood flying around, but bricks. And hurricanes are moving at extremely high speed, so it'll be flinging those bricks kilometers away. So you'll think you're safe. Those bricks will be just flying all over the place. Like they'll be flying, they'll be reaching places. Yeah. What else? There was oh man, this was like the most depressing thing I read. There is a dog that got diagnosed with terminal cancer in Illinois. Same place this story is happening. Just a couple hundred miles away is Chirac, is that gang warfare zone that I was talking about, where life is very cheap. In Crystal Lake, Illinois, a dog was found. A 12-year-old dog was found abandoned in a parking lot, and he had cancer nodules throughout his abdomen. And the vet said he wouldn't have long to live. So the lady who found him basically started a bucket list for this dog. Named him Theo. Started a bucket list for him. Started off with ice cream, getting a burger at a drive-thru, chewing on a fresh bone from a butcher shop, and then this chick Jenny who found him started posting his adventures on Facebook. And people started offering ideas. Someone offered to take him on a boat ride. Someone offered to take him for a ride in his Mustang. And for 2 months, this dog has been living an amazing life. He's been on a blind date with a German Shepherd named Sasha, got to sit in a skydive plane, went swimming in a lake, and checked out a drive-in movie. Real talk. The lady who found this dog is enjoying. I don't want to come at this from a cynical point of view, because what this lady is doing is great. So let me not. What she's doing is nice. A lot of people in Africa, South Africa, are never gonna go skydiving. Are never gonna ride in a Mustang. Reminds me of a time I was riding in a car with my uncle and my uncle's friend, and we were driving past a dog school, like a dog school for dogs, and this friend remarked, there are schools for dogs, but a lot of black people can't go to school. I guess then it's a grid of 4. I thought there was a safe world and an unsafe world, but maybe it's more like a quadrant. There's obviously, on this side is the safe world, and on this side is the unsafe world. But in addition to that, there's the rich world, there's the wealthy world, and there's the unwealthy world, the rich world and the poor world. So you can definitely be rich in the unsafe world, and you can definitely afford to take your dogs to dog school. You can also be poor in the you can be poor in the safe world. You can be rich in the unsafe world. You can be poor in the safe world, and live and work 3 jobs and still not be able to afford to take your kids to school. And I've just basically explained life. I've explained life completely now. I've completely explained life. I've broken down life into exactly what it is. And people who are rich in the safe world, they can do things like let me not necessarily say rich, but have enough disposable income to take their dogs to schools. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think it's nice. I also think I don't know. I don't want to say anything. I've been speaking a lot about race. I shouldn't. I'm not even that type of person who's like, no. I talk about race, but I don't play the victim card. I think that's what separates me from. This was a great meal. Thank you for joining Emmanuel Mthetwa on a very quiet, relaxed episode of Eggs and Beans. I hope you also ate something lovely. And join me again next week. Eggs and Beans forever.